Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Gillian and I'm really excited for today's video because today is my 6-year raw vegan anniversary. So 6 years ago today, I discovered the raw living foods lifestyle and nothing truly has changed my life more. So I thought what better idea than to create a video about everything I have learned in these 6 years as a raw vegan because I have learned so much. And I've also learned a lot through people I interview on this channel. So I want to share some of these things so hopefully I can help some of you out there as well. So let's get right into it, you guys. Give this video a big thumbs up right now. Be sure to subscribe if you don't already. And if you already do, I love you guys so much. I love creating these videos. And let's get right into this one. So like I said, 6 years ago, I discovered this path and truly, literally nothing has changed my life more. I feel like there was life before I was raw vegan. And I was very unhappy, very low vibe. I had so many health problems, you guys. I had major digestive issues, and doctors could not figure out what was going on. I was very constipated. I also had diarrhea a lot. I even got to a point where I had blood in my stool. I had super bad skin problems. I had very bad acne on my back, my chest, and even my upper thighs. I didn't even know you could get acne on your upper thighs, but when my gluten consumption was high and a lot of processed food, I was getting acne on my upper thighs as well. And I also had hypoglycemia that started around the time I was 14 years old. Many times I would faint and pass out and end up at the hospital. So my blood sugars were an absolute mess. And I just did not feel good at all before being raw, you guys. I tried many different diets, many different lifestyles. I even tried the blood type O diet, which I've told you guys before, which is a high meat diet, and it absolutely did not work for me. So I remember on August 31st, 2016, I read something about the living foods by Dr. Sebi. And I thought, how have I not heard about this before? And it just seemed so simple and seemed to make so much sense to try a living foods diet. So the next day I tried this and literally I never felt so good in my entire life. I did not know you could literally feel this good. So it's totally changed my life. And over the last 6 years, you guys, I have learned so many things. I've made mistakes along the way and I've learned so much. And also, above all, I have found my passion and my purpose, which is creating these videos. And I never would have discovered that without this path. And overall, just over the last 6 years, this lifestyle has just given me such a higher vibe and just an advantage in life. Just like Chris Kendall's name from the Raw Advantage, it just gives you like a raw advantage. And the number one thing that's changed the most over the last 6 years is my energy levels. I used to crash through the day. I used to get tired, you guys, if I would just walk up the stairs. I could probably not make it through this video without getting tired. That's how tired I was in the past. And it was just crazy. I was not living my best life. I had major panic attacks, so many things, you guys. And literally everything just healed itself on the raw living foods. And in 6 years, I've literally not experienced any health problems. I feel absolutely incredible. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I have learned in the last 6 years because there have certainly been a lot of them. So the number one thing I have learned and discovered is the simpler I eat, the better I feel. Now and then, I absolutely love to indulge in the raw gourmet foods like the raw pizzas, the pastas. The pastas still make me feel really good. The zucchini pastas, I don't consider those too much gourmet. But the pizzas, the dehydrated stuff like the kale chips, stuff like that just does not make me feel as good. So I think those things are okay as treats and in moderation, at least for me. But I do not feel like my best self on those things. And another thing I've discovered is that, in my opinion, dried fruit is terrible for teeth. I know even one of my daughter's friends was eating a lot of dried mango, a lot of dates, a lot of dried fruit. She had so many cavities. From my experience too, and the amazing people I interview on this channel, many of them say they started to get health problem or dental problems on the raw living foods if they were eating a lot of dried fruit. So a lot of dates and stuff like that. I experienced so many dental problems prior to being raw in my childhood, my teens, my 20s. I haven't experienced any being raw. My teeth have actually never felt cleaner. I do believe in going to the dentist, and I do go to the dentist often, but I haven't had any cavities, nothing. But I have noticed tooth sensitivity if I eat dates. So the dates, just the stickiness, the way they are, they're just so much harder on your teeth, in my opinion. So I would beware of that. And if you are going to consume dates, a great thing I've learned over the last 6 years is after you're done to swish your mouth really good with water a few times and then spit it out and then also floss your teeth. I wouldn't brush your teeth directly after eating those dates because it just brushes the sugars right into the teeth. And the next thing I've learned is preparation is absolutely key in order to be successful on this lifestyle. So I really credit my preparation skills over the last 6 years for helping me stay on this lifestyle. I really always have my kitchen absolutely stocked up with amazing living fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And I don't feel guilty about spending my money on an abundance of those foods. So I just literally just encourage you not to feel bad about that. If you do have the money to spend on the living foods, then absolutely do so. And if you do have a budget, you can do it on a budget as well. I have a great video on how to eat raw for $50 a week, which I will link below. And I'm going to plan on doing one for even less as well. But I definitely believe in having an abundance of fruits and vegetables around, and also be prepared no matter where you have to go. So if you have to go in the car somewhere, you're going to work, doing errands, no matter where you guys are going, always have stuff on hand and always have extra stuff on hand, because you never know if you're going to be gone for longer than expected. And you don't want to be tempted to hit up a drive-through or grab your food that is part of your old habits. And another thing that I've learned in the last 6 years is it's not all about food. And one thing that is absolutely crucial and absolutely key is sleep. So I notice a huge difference in how I feel and if there's cravings or not for the old lifestyle and the old foods, depending how my sleep is. If I'm well rested and have a great sleep, I wake up feeling great. And it's just so much easier to stay on track with those healthy foods. If I wake up tired, I still don't cave and go for the old lifestyle and the old foods. I still stay on track. But I can see why a lot of people would just grab those old foods if they wake up tired, because you just don't feel like your best self. So really prioritize your sleep, because then you start the day right. And I encourage you, when you're starting the day, to start with something super easy to digest and high vibe. And then you really start feeling good and you're more likely to stay on track for the rest of the day. And that's what I've really learned. So in the mornings, I have very easy to digest, high water content fruits and green juices, things like that. And I feel amazing, and it really keeps me on track. Another thing, which I think is key that I've learned over the last 6 years, is that it's super important to eat a lot of calories. So I definitely eat a lot of calories. I don't count calories, but I have a few times for you guys, my amazing viewers. My calories are always usually around 2,500 to 3,000. I do eat a lot of calories. And I think that's why I feel so amazing. I think if I wasn't eating enough calories, then I would feel weak and feel tired. And I just think, don't be afraid to eat a lot of food. I mean, animals in nature are constantly looking for food, eating. It's normal for us to eat a lot of food. And the raw foods digest so much faster than the cooked foods did. So just don't be afraid to increase your portion sizes and increase the amount you are eating. The next thing I have learned is, in my opinion, I think it is so important to supplement on a vegan or raw vegan lifestyle, or any lifestyle for that matter. I think it's important to check your blood work to see if you do need to supplement. When I first became raw vegan in 2016, I did not believe in supplements. I thought, I feel so great natural. I do not need supplements. They are not natural, but we do not live in a natural world. I felt so amazing 2016, 2017, 2018. And then 2019, I discovered I was low in B12. And people can experience a lot of things when they're low in B12. I mean, I think this vitamin is so important. And it's not only B12, but even, for instance, when I interviewed Chris Kendall from the Raw Advantage, he's been raw vegan for 18 years. When he was around year 10, he was so deficient in B12, you guys, that when things would happen, like his computer breaking down, he said he would literally start smashing it in a rage. And I mean, I know maybe that's normal. Our computers break down. It's normal to be a bit pissed off. But he just said it was to another level. So low B12 can cause so many things like that with regards to your moods and things like that. So I think it's so important to just check your blood work. And it's important to think of things other than B12. I have learned in the past 6 years, like iodine, zinc, magnesium, selenium, EPA, DHA, K, all these other things. So check your blood work. Tell them you're vegan, raw vegan. You want to check absolutely everything. Analyze it really well, because you just never know how one little thing being off could be affecting you. So that's a huge thing that I have really learned in the past 6 years. Another thing I've learned is there's just so much to know about the gut microbiome. The best thing I've ever seen on the gut microbiome is a Rich Roll podcast. I think it's 2 or 3 hours long, but it is definitely worth the watch. And I will link that down below for you guys. It is so good. And I've really learned, like, it's so important to have a wide variety of plant foods for a strong gut microbiome. And the better the health of our gut microbiome, the stronger our immune system and our longevity, anti-aging, all these, so many things, you guys. So definitely think about your gut microbiome when you're grocery shopping next time. And don't be afraid to pick up something different. Pick up those dandelion greens or something you wouldn't normally pick up, because different things feed different gut microbes. And it just leads to a stronger, healthier you. Another thing, which I have learned over the past 6 years, you guys, is that I do not think cacao is very healthy for the human body. I absolutely love it more than anyone else, I think. But every time I've had it, it comes along with so many negative side effects. So I now do believe it is toxic for the body. That being said, still do consume it sometimes now and then. I'm absolutely not perfect like that on my birthday or things like that. But it has like a huge up, and I'm super stimulated, almost like more than coffee, and a huge mood boost. And then whatever goes up must come down. So there's a huge downside I've noticed with cacao, and I will feel super down for a couple days. I won't be able to sleep, all these things. And I just think I've tested it time and time and time again. It is just a no-go for my body. And I've learned that other things can also be a no-go for your body. It's important to listen to yourself as well, because I know every body and not every gut microbiome is the same. So something that might have an effect on me one way might not be the same for you guys. I have also learned that onions and garlic have a negative effect on me. I started to notice this a few years ago, and I was like, what's going on every time I consume them? And this being said, I still do consume them, sometimes in recipes, because I still love them. But I started to look into it, and I saw a Sadhguru talk about it, and there's Buddhists who talk about it, and spiritual folks who talk about it. And some of them say they stay away from onions and garlic because of the way they aggravate the nervous system, disconnect you from can do these things, can aggravate the nervous system, can disconnect you from your higher self, cause more anger, aggression, nightmares, things like this. And I noticed this with myself. So this is something you might want to look into if you're feeling more angry or aggressive or not as happy as you think you should be feeling. Then maybe try cutting these foods and do some research on this as well, because that was a big one that I learned over the past 6 years. And another thing that I learned is you truly crave what is in you. So people ask me all the time, do you still crave the old foods you used to eat? And I pretty much barely ever don't crave those foods. And I think the reason for that is because I don't have cheat days. I haven't had a cheat day since I can't even remember when. I'm pretty good at sticking to the lifestyle 100% because it makes me feel my best. I'm all about everyone doing what makes you feel your best, because isn't that what we all want in this life, to feel good inside and out? And that just attracts to us a better life. So I think because I don't consume like cooked food or cheat foods or processed foods, I don't consume any of that anymore. That is why I don't crave it, because it's not in me. If I was consuming pasta or something one night, that's feeding different gut microbes. And then I would probably crave it for a few days after that. So because it's not in me, I don't crave it. So I think for some people, just having things in moderation is what works for them. And like everybody, you got to just do what works for you. But I'm just sharing what works for me. And maybe for some of you as well, that might work. So I just encourage you, if you want to be raw, maybe commit to like 30 or 60 days raw. You're going to get through those cravings. And then I can guarantee you the cravings will really subside, and it'll be easier just to not have those foods. The next point is so important. When I was first raw for the first couple of years, I was eating super high fat. And overt fats, like lots of avocados, lots of walnuts. And although it made me feel absolutely amazing, I still felt incredible when I first went raw, and I could handle it then. It was fine. I have noticed over time that I feel better on lower fats. And this is an absolutely huge difference. Even times if I do a cleanse or take a break from the overt fats altogether, I feel so much better, you guys. I notice huge difference in my energy levels and my happiness when the fats are kept in check and they're kept lower. That being said, I mean, some days I still do keep fats higher. And I know some raw vegans who are high fat, like Shane Sterling, and they thrive and it absolutely works for them. But I know for a lot of people, and the majority of people and a lot of raw vegans, they thrive on low fat. So if you're feeling sluggish, not so energized, you're just not feeling so amazing, that I would consider lowering your fats, because that's a huge thing that I've noticed over the last 6 years. Another thing I've noticed over the last 6 years is doing some cleanses now and then make me feel absolutely amazing. I probably haven't done one in about a year or so. The last one I did would have been my grape cleanse. I think I did 28 days. I can't remember, but I'll try and link the video down below. But even just to do one day on grapes makes me feel absolutely amazing. I've done a lot of mini cleanses here and there, just when I felt like maybe my body needed a break. And just one day on watermelons, 3 days on juice, things like that. And it can just do a world of wonders just for cleansing you, making you feel extra high vibe, amazing, and just reaching deeper levels of meditation or things like that. Another thing I have noticed is not eating late at night is a huge game changer, you guys. For a little while there, I was stopping eating at 3 p.m. So I was doing intermittent fasting. And I think I never felt better in my entire life. I was feeling so good when I stopped eating at 3 p.m. So intermittent fasting, learning that and just learning to stop eating earlier in the night has been an absolute game changer. So even without intermittent fasting, I usually stop eating by 5 or 6 o'clock at the latest. So maybe I am doing some mini intermittent fasting still, but that's when I'll stop eating typically on most nights. And it's a huge difference, the quality of my sleep and how I feel the next day. I cannot emphasize this enough. When you eat too close to bed, your body is just working on digesting those foods when you're asleep, and it affects your sleep quality. And therefore, it affects how you feel the next day, which ties in with my favorite quote: what you eat today walks and talks tomorrow. It's so important how we feed ourselves and also when we feed ourselves. So, the timing we eat. So, I encourage you to just maybe take some advice from what I've learned. Maybe try those tips in your own life and try stopping eating earlier in the day. And you might notice a huge difference as well. And I never do it for weight loss. I've never done anything for weight loss. I've always done things for what make me feel my best. But I know if people are looking to lose weight as well, studies have shown when people consumed the exact same amount of calories, those who intermittent fasted lost a lot more weight than those who consumed the same amount of calories but didn't intermittent fast, which I thought was interesting. Another thing I've learned over the past 6 years is the raw vegan lifestyle is typically a very anti-aging diet. You can look at Shane Sterling, my close friend. He is 49 years old. He literally looks like he's in his late 20s. He looks amazing. Marcus Rothkrantz just turned 60. He looks so young as well. And if you see pictures of me before I was raw vegan, I look a lot younger now than I did then. I'm 40 years old now, and people comment all the time how I look so much younger now than I did then. So that's a nice bonus. And I think the reason for that, part of the reason, is because the raw living foods just have so much life in them. They have so much water content. They're so much easier to digest. And that high water content and just those plant foods do so much for our bodies. And another thing I've learned is I just do not feel good if I eat cooked foods, you guys. Over the last 6 years, there have been a couple times where I have played around with it and tried cooked foods. In the beginning, I even did try a few times over the first couple of years to have some animal products. I had some eggs or some salmon, some chicken. And over the years, I've had a sweet potato here and there and a few things. And I just never feel good when I do that, no matter what it is. And if I did feel good eating a sweet potato, then I would probably eat sweet potatoes, but I absolutely don't. So I think it's important to listen to your body. And for me, I do not feel good on cooked foods. Anytime I've had cooked foods over the last few years, I felt dehydrated, much more tired. I felt like I've lost my natural high vibe energy. And I've just felt the next morning so much tired, more tired, almost like a hangover, and just felt like I needed so much more water. And it just doesn't make me feel good. And I feel just like my sinuses get congested and so many things like that. And that's another thing that cleared up huge for me going raw. When I was a young child, I had asthma. And then as an adult, I had sinusitis, they called it, and all these sinus problems. But I didn't realize it was food. I think dairy caused a lot of the sinus problems and a lot of the acne, but I have no sinus issues now. I do notice, like I said, though, if I have the cooked foods, I notice my sinuses block up a little bit and I'm just like, what the heck? So I don't feel as good on it. And that's why I don't do it. Another thing I've learned over the last 6 years is just because this diet works so well for me and makes me feel absolutely amazing, this lifestyle makes me feel so over the top, incredible, doesn't mean I have to push it down everybody's throat. So I absolutely don't do that. And what I have learned is when I'm around people, if I had been like that, it just makes them want to run the other way. So I do encourage you just to like stay in your lane, focus on yourself, focus on making you your best self. For me, that involves eating this way. And then I just naturally inspire other people around me in my life by doing that rather than pushing it down their throat. Because I feel like with anything, when you're telling someone to do something or pushing it on them in like a heavy way, you just want to run the other way. So that's something I've really noticed. And another thing I've learned in the past 6 years is that I think people have to be careful if they're going to do the raw vegan diet for children or babies. I think, or if you're pregnant, I think there's just so much due diligence you need to do, so much you need to look into, and you definitely need to check your blood work and maybe consult somebody about it, a professional, and make sure everything is okay and that the baby or the child are getting the nutrients they need to absolutely thrive. So I believe in supplements. I take supplements, but I know for some babies and kids, it can be hard to get the quantities of raw food into them and to get all the different supplements into them. So I just encourage you to be careful. and check the blood work, do your due diligence when it comes to being pregnant, the babies and the toddlers and the growing children and all that as well. So I have learned so many things over the last 6 years. I've learned everything is energy as well. I feel so much more high vibe and amazing consuming the living foods. They make me feel much more alive, electric, and amazing versus the cooked foods. If you guys have any questions about my 6 years raw, then please comment them down below. I love interacting with you guys, answering your questions, and let me know what videos you guys want to see more of. And make sure you guys subscribe because I have amazing videos coming up as well. And I love you guys so much. Give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.